You've seen the claims. This penny is worth $1 million. This quarter can make you rich overnight. But is it true? The truth is, most of it is completely fake. Exaggerated prices, misleading hype. That's what we're here to expose. Welcome to Rare Coin Collecting. We reveal the real value, real history, and true rarity of coins that actually matter. From wheat pennies to rare state quarters. We cover it all with facts, not fiction. We explore coins in detailed series, one country at a time. And right now, we're focused on rare US coins. Subscribe now and discover the truth behind the coins. People say it's just a Vermont quarter, but that's where most collectors stop short of the truth. Because buried in the 2001 Vermont P quarter is a little-known chase for one of the most elusive mint state rarities from the state quarter program. And while millions of these coins exist in circulation, almost nobody realizes how few have ever made it into the upper elite of the collector world. At first glance, this coin looks peaceful. A man tapping a maple tree, two giant sugar maples standing tall, and the word freedom and unity quietly etched into the side. But behind this quiet scene is a storm of competition, scarcity, and unexpected value. This coin came out of the Philadelphia mint in the late summer of 2001. Over 459 million of them were struck. That's nearly 500 million coins. So you'd think with a number that big, there'd be no shortage of pristine, top-quality examples, right? But that's exactly the myth that catches collectors off guard. The truth? Finding one of these in a true MS-68 condition is nearly impossible. Why? Because the Philadelphia Mint, in 2001, was known for one thing: speed. These coins were pumped out fast, with dies running hot, overused, and often misaligned. That meant small nicks, contact marks, die fatigue, all those tiny details that keep a coin from ever making it to the top of the grading charts. Even if you pulled one straight from a bankroll that year, chances are it'd still land you in the MS-64 or maybe MS-65 range. And here's the twist. MS-66 isn't rare. MS-67 is competitive. But MS-68, that's where the real prize sits. PCGS and NGC combined have certified only a tiny handful in MS-68 condition. That's out of thousands submitted. So why would someone go after this coin so aggressively? What makes it worth the hunt? Because registry-set collectors, the ones who aim to own the absolute best of every state quarter ever minted, need this Vermont P in top grade to keep their rankings alive. And they're not just casual buyers. These collectors play with money, strategy, and obsession. A while back, one Vermont P quarter in MS-68 made headlines when it went through a private auction. The price it fetched left people stunned. We're talking hundreds, then thousands. Some collectors have paid over 4 figures for just this one coin. A coin that costs 25 cents. If you're just spending it at the store. But here's the wild part. Most people walk past these every day and have no clue. That's the mystery of modern US coins. It's not about age anymore. It's about condition. And when you combine high mintage with low survival in top grade, you create an extreme collector demand that spikes value overnight. Some of the biggest surprises come from everyday places. A few years ago, a collector in the Midwest claimed he pulled a near gem from a bank, roll of old quarters sitting in storage. He sent it in, and while it only graded MS-67, the value shocked him. One of his other coins from that same batch, rejected when came back as cleaned. That's how razor-thin the line is. And that's what makes this Vermont P quarter so deceptive. But don't be fooled by the surface. Most of these coins carry little to no premium unless you're holding a true gem. Graders look for smooth, untouched fields, no bag marks, and strong luster. And since this is a Philly coin, die strikes tend to be weak, which means many examples never had a chance to begin with. Still, the hunt goes on. Dealers, coin roll hunters, and advanced collectors continue to scan Vermont P quarters for that perfect specimen. Because even today, this coin sits near the top of the list for hardest state quarters to find in MS-68. If you're watching this and thinking you've got one, stop. Don't clean it. Don't touch it. Look at it under strong light and a 10x loupe. See if the fields are clean. Check the high points. If it looks like a candidate, slab it. And if you're lucky enough to have one of the known MS-68s, that coin alone has sold for over $2,000 at auction. That's the hidden power of the Vermont P quarter. And this is exactly the kind of truth we reveal here on Rare Coin Collecting. No hype, no fake million-dollar claims. Just real coin facts that can change how you see your pocket change forever. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious, about knowing what actually matters, then this channel is made for you. We're on a mission to spread real, authentic coin knowledge. No hype, no clickbait. People online say this Vermont quarter could secretly make you rich. But before you run to check your change, let's take a closer look at what's really going on. This is the 2001 Vermont State Quarter from the Denver Mint, marked with a small D under "In God We Trust" on the front. And while some claim these are worth hundreds or even thousands, the truth is way more fascinating than the hype. Now, what makes the Vermont quarter instantly recognizable is that beautiful image of camels. Hump Mountain in the background, with a man tapping sugar maple trees for sap. It's more than a scenic design. It represents Vermont's deep-rooted maple syrup tradition, which has been a cornerstone of its economy and culture since the 1700s. And that's one reason collectors admire it. But admiration doesn't always translate to big money. Here's where people often get confused. They see one of these coins go for a high price online, and suddenly, they think every Vermont D quarter in their pocket is a jackpot. But it's not about having a quarter. It's about having the right one. And there are specific reasons why some Vermont quarters have sold for serious money, and why most haven't. Let's break it down. The Denver Mint produced over 453 million Vermont quarters in 2001. That makes this version very common in circulation. You'll still find them in pocket change. But here's the twist. While most of these coins are only worth face value, a few of them were minted with striking errors. And those are the ones that can explode in value. Some collectors have reported Vermont D quarters with off-center strikes, double dies, missing clad layers, and die chips in odd places, like the maple tree branches or the letters in Vermont. If you find one with those flaws in pristine, uncirculated condition, now you're talking about a coin that could catch the eye of serious buyers. And here's the other big factor: grading. Coins in MS-67 or MS-68 condition are incredibly rare for this issue. Most Vermont quarters, even those stored for decades, fall into the MS-63 to MS-65 range. That might be decent. But for high-end collectors and auctions, those upper MS grades are what really move the needle. In fact, a Vermont D quarter graded MS-68 by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC has stunned the market in the past. We're talking auction prices that most people wouldn't believe unless they saw the receipts. And that's what gets people excited. But again, the key is condition. If your coin has nicks, scratches, or wear, the dream dies quickly. Now there's one more piece of misinformation that's floating around. Some videos and blogs claim that Vermont D quarters with a darker or shinier surface are rare. That's not true. The appearance of the metal can change from environmental exposure. It doesn't make it valuable unless the coin is already uncirculated or has a verified mint error. So here's the takeaway. Don't believe the hype unless you understand the facts. The 2001 Vermont D quarter is a fantastic piece of state history, but only a small number are worth more than 25 cents. And those ones have either been perfectly preserved or carry dramatic errors. And now here's what you've been waiting for. One of the highest graded Vermont D quarters ever submitted sold at auction for a jaw-dropping price that stunned even seasoned coin collectors. The final hammer price, just under $3,000 for a single quarter. That's right. A coin you could have picked up for 25 cents in 2001, now selling for thousands. But only under very rare, very specific conditions. So before you toss that Vermont quarter into the tip jar, take a second look. Check the mint mark. Look for errors. And above all, consider its condition. Because sometimes, the difference between pocket change and payday is just a tiny scratch. This is why rare coin collecting is here. To break down the real facts and help collectors, investors and buyers avoid the clickbait. If you're serious about coins, this channel is made for you. No hype, no scams, just the truth coin by coin. And remember, we've already covered over 30 of these state quarters so far. You never know which one might surprise you next. Stick around. So here's the takeaway. Don't believe the hype unless you understand the facts. The 2001 Vermont D quarter is a fantastic piece of state history, but only a small number are worth more than 25 cents. And those ones have either been perfectly preserved or carry dramatic errors. And now here's what you've been waiting for. One of the highest graded Vermont D quarters ever submitted sold at auction for a jaw-dropping price that stunned even seasoned coin collectors. The final hammer price, just under $3,000 for a single quarter. That's right. A coin you could have picked up for 25 cents in 2001, now selling for thousands, but only under very rare, very specific conditions. So before you toss that Vermont quarter into the tip jar, take a second look. Check the mint mark. Look for errors. And above all, consider its condition, because sometimes the difference between pocket change and payday is just a tiny scratch. This is why rare coin collecting is here, to break down the real facts and help collectors, investors, and buyers avoid the clickbait. If you're serious about coins, this channel is made for you. No hype, no scams, just the truth coin by coin. And remember, we've already covered over 30 of these state quarters so far. You never know which one might surprise you next. Stick around. It looks ordinary, small, glossy, a coin you'd overlook in a pile of change. But don't be fooled by the Rhode Island S-clad quarter. This piece has left collectors puzzled for years. Many folks pass it off without a second glance, unaware that it quietly belongs to a very specific category of state quarters. And that makes it rare, very rare. Let's start with the basics. This is part of the 50 state quarters program, launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999. By the time Rhode Island's turn came in 2001, millions were already hooked, not just collectors, but regular Americans suddenly interested in coins again. And that's no accident. The state quarters were a masterstroke in design, history, and timing. But among the Rhode Island quarters, the San Francisco Mint's clad proof issue holds a special place. It's not your regular pocket change. You'd never find it in your spare coins from a gas station run. Why? Because it was never meant to circulate. The S mint mark gives it away, minted in San Francisco, and released only in special proof sets, directly from the U.S. Mint. Now here's where things get interesting. Most people think proof coins are always silver, but that's not the full story. The Rhode Island proof quarter came in two forms, one silver and one clad, made of copper and nickel. And it's this clad version that often flies under the radar. Fewer people talk about it. Fewer collectors even realize it exists. But those who know, they're watching it closely. Let's talk mintage. The U.S. Mint struck just under 3.1 million clad proofs of the Rhode Island quarter. That might sound like a big number, but in coin terms it's tight, especially when you consider how many have been broken out of sets, scratched, mishandled, or lost. A flawless one is harder to find every year. Add to that the fact that many new collectors chase only the silver versions. That means the clad proofs don't face the same competition yet, and that's where opportunity lives. Serious collectors know the market shifts. Interest in overlooked coins can surge fast, especially when there's a mintage cap and a growing demand. But what really makes this coin special isn't just scarcity, it's condition. Since it's a proof coin, collectors demand perfection. Mirror-like surfaces, razor-sharp details, no haze, no scratches. And grading matters here more than almost any other place in numismatics. A PF69 deep cameo? That's solid. But a PF70, a perfect 70? That's where the stakes get high. These perfect specimens represent a fraction of an already small total mintage. And their price, well, that's not something you'll want to miss. Before we reveal what collectors have actually paid, let's be clear. Prices vary depending on the market, the grader, and timing. But historical sales give us strong indicators. One nearly flawless Rhode Island S-clad quarter in a PF70 slab, certified by a top-tier grading company, was sold at a collector's auction not long ago. And the price? Let's just say it turned a few heads. Some examples in top grade have sold for amounts most people wouldn't believe possible for a modern coin, and that's exactly why we cover them here at Rare Coin Collecting. Not for hype, but for truth. See, when these coins first came out, they were available as part of proof sets for just a few bucks. But fast forward 20 plus years and things change. A coin once seen as common becomes harder and harder to find in pristine condition. That's the game of long-term collecting. But there's one more twist: fakes. Not counterfeit coins exactly, but altered proofs, cleaned coins, or online sellers listing silver coins as clad or vice versa. That's why if you're going after one of these Rhode Island S-clad proofs, you need to check the specs carefully. Weight, edge, finish, and always at the mint mark. Now let's talk value. In lower grades, ungraded or lightly handled, this coin might not fetch much. But in pristine PF70 deep cameo condition, sealed in a recognized holder, this Rhode Island S-clad quarter has been known to reach up to $275 or more, depending on demand and timing. That's a huge return on something once part of a cheap proof set. And remember, this isn't silver. That's what shocks most people. It's clad copper and nickel, but the condition and rarity drive the value, not the metal. If you're holding a 2001 Rhode Island quarter with an S mint mark, and it's in untouched condition, it might be time to have it graded, or at the very least keep it safe. Because coins like this, proof limited, forgotten by most, they tend to rise in value quietly, until one day, they don't go unnoticed anymore. And that's exactly why rare coin collecting exists. To bring you the truth behind these coins, the ones that get ignored, the ones with stories hiding beneath the surface. If you're an investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about real numismatic knowledge, then you're in the right place. We're not here for hype. We're here to get it right. Subscribe now and stick around. Because next, we're uncovering a Rhode Island proof coin even rarer than this one. And the price? You're not going to believe what it hit. Some collectors think all proof coins are just shiny extras. But that couldn't be further from the truth, especially when we're talking about the 2001 Rhode Island S silver quarter. Because what looks like just another mirror-like surface may actually hide a silent, numismatic powerhouse, one that's becoming more and more scarce in top condition. Let's break it down, but not with just facts. We're going into the collector's mindset. The first thing to know is this. The Rhode Island quarter was released in 2001 as the 13th design in the U.S. state quarters program. This coin features the Ocean State Tribute, with the vintage image of the sailboat gliding under the Claiborne Pell. Newport Bridge, one of the state's iconic engineering landmarks. The design represents the spirit of independence, coastal identity, and maritime legacy. But there's a critical difference between the coins you found in change and the silver proof version minted in San Francisco. This one was struck only for collectors, never for circulation. That means it was handled with care, packaged directly from the U.S. Mint, and struck using polished dies on specially prepared silver planchets. These coins were made with 90% silver, yes, actual silver, not the standard copper-nickel mix found in circulating quarters. Now, if you're wondering whether that silver content alone gives it value, you're not wrong, but that's just the beginning. Let's talk about rarity. The mintage for the 2001's silver-proof Rhode Island quarter was limited to around 89,700 coins. Compare that to the hundreds of millions of regular P&D mint quarters. It's a microscopic fraction. And with over 2 decades of collector handling, environmental damage, and casual flipping through albums, pristine examples have become harder to find. Here's where it gets more interesting. Many collectors confuse the S-clad proof with the S-silver proof. Because both were struck in San Francisco, both have a mirror finish and both came in proof sets. But only one is silver, and you have to check the weight or buy from verified, sealed mint packaging to know for sure. Let's go deeper. Condition matters immensely with proof coins. Not just for minor value differences, I'm talking major jumps. A Rhode Island Silver S in PR65? Pretty common. PR68? Getting there. But PR70 Deep Cameo? Now you're in the elite zone. Less than a fraction of these coins have been graded that high. The Deep Cameo designation especially means the contrast between the frosted designs and the mirror background is perfect. Just what serious investors look for. And speaking of investors, let's not forget demand. The State Quarter series attracted tens of millions of casual and serious collectors alike. But silver proofs weren't something average. Americans stumbled across in their pocket change. You had to buy them. That means fewer people bought in. Today, that's a huge advantage for those who held on. Collectors who focus on full silver proof sets from 1999 to 2008 often get stuck completing their collection because of just a few coins and the Rhode Island silver proof has emerged as one of those tougher pieces, especially in flawless condition. So what are these worth now? Let's hold that thought, because before we talk numbers, remember condition, verification, and market trends all affect real-world value. Coins with original government packaging, no fingerprints, no haze, and no surface damage have a significant edge. And for those coins that made it into certified holders from top grading services like PCGS or NGC, with that perfect PR70 DCAM label, that's where things take a turn. All right, let's reveal it. A typical raw Rhode Island S silver-proof quarter might go for the melt value of silver, usually just a few bucks. But a certified PR70 Deep Cameo? That's a completely different story. These can command hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on buyer demand and timing. We're not talking about hype, we're talking about real collector value built on condition and supply. But here's what separates rare coin collecting from the noise. We're not going to push you into thinking every Rhode Island silver is valuable. It takes careful eyes, research, and understanding grading to turn one of these into a real win. So before you list your coin or rush to sell, slow down. Recheck your coin's weight. It should be around 6.25 grams, not 5.67 like a clad version. Look for that frosty deep cameo contrast. And most of all, consider preservation. If your coin's still in the original US mint proof set, untouched, unexposed, and ungraded, you just might be holding something very few collectors have managed to keep in that condition. We've still got more quarters to break down in this long journey. Remember, we're going one coin at a time with real facts, not hype. And if you're a serious collector, investor, buyer, or seller, rare coin collecting is the place to be. Subscribe, check out the next part, and join a community that values real coin knowledge. Everyone's seen the Rhode Island quarter, but not everyone knows the real truth behind the one with the D, mint mark from 2001. Some say it's worthless. Others claim it could make you rich. But here's what most collectors completely miss, and it starts with one unusual sailboat. When the U.S. Mint released the Rhode Island State Quarter in May of 2001, it was meant to celebrate the ocean state's nautical heritage, and it does that brilliantly. The design features the vintage Reliance, a racing yacht that once dominated the America's Cup, gliding across the open water with the Pell Bridge in the background. But beneath that elegant surface is where things get interesting. At the Denver Mint, these quarters were produced with the standard copper-nickel-clad composition. No silver, no proofs, just circulation strikes. And they made a lot of them. In fact, the total mintage for the Rhode Island D quarter was a staggering 700,000 coins. That's nearly $500 million. So at first glance, you'd think this coin couldn't possibly be valuable. And yet some of these Denver minted Rhode Island quarters are quietly selling for far more than face value. If you know what to look for, it all comes down to condition and errors. Most Rhode Island D quarters you'll find in pocket change are scratched up, dull and worn, nothing special. But every now and then, one turns up that was struck with unusual precision. These are called mint state coins, and they're graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the higher the price, especially if the coin is untouched, straight from a mint roll or bag. With no fingerprints, no scratches, and full luster, some collectors will pay impressive premiums for coins graded MS66 and above. But that's not all. There are also rare minting errors that make this otherwise common coin incredibly desirable. These include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to misalignment, die cracks or cuds, where a damaged die leaves raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface, double die obverses, although extremely rare on this issue, where the date or lettering appears slightly doubled under magnification, and even struck through errors, where a piece of cloth or debris got in the way during minting, leaving a unique impression on the coin. These error coins aren't just collectible, they're profitable. But finding one is like winning the coin lottery. You'll need patience, sharp eyes, and sometimes a microscope. There's one more twist most people don't know. While this coin had a massive circulation, a few were accidentally or intentionally preserved in pristine condition. Some were sealed in mint, sets from 2001. These coins are often far better struck, with sharper details and stronger luster. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have slabbed thousands of these, and their auction records tell an interesting story. At first, prices were low, but over time, as more collectors hunt for high-grade examples to complete their 50 states quarter sets, the value of top-grade Rhode Island D quarters has crept upward. Now, if you're wondering what these coins actually sell for, we'll get there. But stay with me for this final detail. Unlike most quarters in your pocket, these coins have contextual value. They're part of the first major coin program that drew in millions of non-collectors. So even modern collectors now chase them for nostalgic reasons. So what's the maximum price one of these could bring? One certified MS68 example. That's just 2 points from a perfect coin is sold for a stunning 4-figure sum at auction. That's right, a coin you could have found in change. sold for more than most people's monthly rent. But be warned, those high-value coins are ultra-rare. Most Rhode Island D quarters, even in decent condition, are worth face value or slightly more. It's only the top 1%. Or coins with dramatic errors that demand attention and cash. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about knowing what actually matters, then this channel is made for you. We're rare coin collecting, and we're on a mission to spread real, authentic coin knowledge. No hype, no clickbait. Subscribe for deep dives into U.S. coin history, coin grading, real auction prices, and how to spot truly valuable coins. And if you've got a Rhode Island D quarter, take a closer look. You might be holding more than 25 cents.